Okay. Shit. Nej. Nå, hvad fanden, jeg har faktisk postet i dag på min Pjuske Live. Jeg har brugt lidt tid på at hvad det hedder, tage alle Oslo-klipsene, alle de gange, jeg var i Oslo, ikke? Og så det alle sammen til en stor lækker film. Så vi vender den er her på. Hej Mia, velkommen til. Hey. Og nej Mia, jeg har ikke købt mælk. Jeg er ikke din far. For så kommer jeg aldrig tilbage. Okay? Kender du den? Fam, aldrig bede din far, når din far siger til dig, hvad det hedder, at han skal lige ud og hente mælk, og han aldrig kommer hjem, ja. Så altid hvis du er far, ikke, så hvad det hedder, så altid tage en karton mælk med hjem, hvis du ikke planlægger at gøre for at lade dine børn. Never bet, Christian. Kender det? Ja. Sådan er det bare, fam. Sådan er det. Okay, lad os lige se.
has traveled and caught a lot of Pokemon, more specifically Fire-type Pokemon. So it got me thinking, which one of Ash's Fire-type Pokemon is the strongest? At first glance, I thought it would be extremely easy to rank them, but the more I looked into it, the more difficult it was to actually rank their strengths.
Yeah.
Most of them are the ace of their own respective team, and for some reason, a lot of them seem to have messed up backstories. No, seriously, Charmander was abused and abandoned by his old trainer for being weak, but Tepig and Chimchar might as well join the club and all go to group therapy since they have the exact same backstory. Ash's Litten had dead parents, and Cyndaquil... Actually, Cyndaquil had a pretty nice life. Regardless, this built them up to be the strong Pokemon that they are today, but it was pretty difficult picking between Ash's 7 Fire-type Pokemon on who's the strongest out of Charizard, Palava, Torkoal, Infernape, Ignite, Talonflame, and Incineroar, but it certainly wasn't hard picking who the weakest was, and unfortunately we'll have to start off this list by picking one of the most obvious choices ever, Torkoal. It is what I would have said before doing research for this video. Yes, at first glance, Torkoal does have one of the worst win rates of Ash's Pokemon ever, and he was just straight up annoying throughout the Hoenn season.
Oh no, I have a
isn't
hungry
actually the worst. That spot has to go to Kolava. Now look, I
Mother,
like Kolava
mother.
just as much as the next guy, but looking at the feats, it's not even close, or more like the non-existent feats that this Pokemon has. When Ash first went to the Johto region in the Pokemon anime, he ended up encountering Cyndaquil, and it was going to be a pretty good addition to his team, considering a few episodes ago, Ash just lost Charizard. Little did Ash know, though, that Cyndaquil was very weak and lazy. He literally needed to charge himself up to even be able to use moves like Flamethrower. When Ash went ahead and used Cyndaquil against Bugsy, the Bug-type gym leader, Cyndaquil was too sleepy to even fight and was just lazy, so Ash had to return him. Yes, in the end, Cyndaquil did come back and was able to defeat Bugsy's side there, but is that really a big accomplishment?
Du ved, hvad der der. Min far, du ved, nogle gange, da jeg var yngre, ikke, før han blev syg, så, hvad det hedder, nogle gange, jeg tror i mange år, så så jeg aldrig rigtig min far i hverdag, ikke? Jeg tror han kom hjem altid sådan cirka ved 5-7, og hvis han rigtig skulle arbejde over, så var det 9 nogle gange, meget sjældent 9 nogle gange, men det var tættere på 7, end det var på 5 de gange, kan jeg huske. Så jeg har faktisk ikke set så meget min far.
That is the bare minimum and something I'd expect from any one of Ash's fire types. Granted, Cyndaquil
så jeg spurgte ham en gang, skal du ud og hente mælk, far? Men han kom så tilbage hjem med en mælk. Hej mor.
like this forever. Against the 7th gym leader Bryce, Cyndaquil was actually very useful, and this is probably one of his best feats, where he went up against Bryce's Dewgong. This was the most locked in I've ever seen this Pokemon, because even when Cyndaquil got put into ice, he used the flames on his back to melt it. He dodged Dewgong's Aurora Beam and even shot a flamethrower straight at Dewgong without any hesitation. And when Dewgong went into the water, Cyndaquil did not care because he jumped right into the water, used Swift, and then he became Aquaman for a minute because he was standing on top of the water shooting flamethrowers at Dewgong, defeating him in his own territory. If Cyndaquil did more stuff like this, he definitely would be ranked higher. But the next memorable thing he did, besides just competing in the Johto League, was evolving into Quilava, and that was in the Sinnoh season. When Ash was training for the Sinnoh League and brought out all his old Pokemon, Team Rocket pulled up and did their usual shenanigans, and Cyndaquil ended up evolving into Quilava to save his friends and learned Eruption. But Ash's Pokemon evolving because of Team Rocket really isn't something special, because everybody basically does that. Quilava's had a whopping total of 1 battle, and that was in the Sinnoh League, where he just drawed with the Artiodose, which is one of the primary reasons why I had to put him into dead last, since he has very little battle experience. And just to get the elephants in the room out of the way, he is one of the only Fire-type Pokemon of Ash's to not be fully
så når han
evolved.
siger, han
Not to pull that card, but it would be pretty helpful if we had a instead of a Quilava. But unfortunately, Quilava is not the only offender of not being fully evolved, because for our 6th place, we have Ash's Pignite. With Pignite, I really don't know what went wrong. He had the perfect formula for success to being a strong Fire-type Pokemon on Ash's team, having a tragic backstory, getting saved by Ash, and then coming back many episodes later to defeat the abusive trainer. I'd even argue that Tepig probably had it one of the hardest, since his trainer literally tied him to a pole to abandon him. When Ash added Tepig onto the team, he was pretty useful, and his story arc led up to him defeating his old trainer and evolving in that fight. Then Pignite kind of did nothing afterwards. The only notable battle that he really has is against Hydreigon, which he was able to KO, and then Pignite just versus a bunch of fodder for the rest of the Black and White series. But I don't entirely blame Pignite for not reaching his full potential, since the Pokemon Company said the Unova season was supposed to be a soft reboot of the franchise, and it's pretty clear since Ash chose to evolve less than half of his team this season. So I'm sorry, Pignite, you kind of just got dealt a trash hand. But for the rest of the Pokemon on this list, I would consider them actually really strong. From here on out, they're all fully evolved and have some serious battling experience. And for 5th place, I would have to place none other than Talonflame. Yes, I know it's a shocker that this bird is placed lower than Torkoal, but trust me, there's a good reason for it. In Pokemon X and Y, Talonflame was the regional bird that Ash caught. As a fletchling, it was always pretty useful, and it was even able to fight up against another Talonflame at such a young evolution stage. In this battle, Fletchling was able to evolve into Fletchinder and defeat the Talonflame, so it really proved the amount of potential it had. I would easily say, though, that the best thing this Pokemon does that puts it in a far above tier than the last 2 candidates was go up against Moltres. Moltres was going absolutely crazy against Ash and the gang, and Fletchinder was holding his own, and it got so bad to the point where Moltres threw a Fire Blast straight at Ash trying to kill them, but Fletchinder absorbed the fire and evolved into Talonflame. As a Talonflame, he is no joke, because he was able to get a few good Brave Birds off on Moltres, and even the Pokemon in 4th place, I would honestly have to say it's Torkoal. Now look, I'm just as shocked as you. Having less than a 50% win rate, being one of the worst on his own team, not even wanting to fight half of the time, and having one of the most mediocre stats and moveset for it, then he won the battle. For an internship, I could hit buttons down below. Glidden ended up having a rival Kukui's team and the strongest in the entire room, and ultimately in the end this Incineroar ended up losing to its pre-evolution Torracat. With all that being said, if Torracat was going this crazy in its second form, I wonder how strong it would be as an Incineroar. After Torracat finally defeated its rival, it evolved into the oh so powerful Incineroar, a Pokemon so powerful I believe it has the power to rival and surpass Charizard and Infernape. So why is it in 3rd place? Well, there's one major issue about Ash's Incineroar. We know literally nothing about this Pokemon. I'm not kidding. The minute this Incineroar evolved, the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime ended, and he never fought once. If you had any hope about seeing him in Pokemon Journeys, well, we did see him. He just didn't fight. He just had a few nice cameos. I honestly believe this is one of Ash's Pokemon that was robbed the most, because he was so powerful as a Torracat. Just imagine what he can do as an Incineroar. Charmeleon and Monferno weren't that strong in their second stages stages, and they got crazy boosts in their third stage, so I guess we'll never know how strong this cat would be. It really is a shame, because Incineroar is one of my favorite Pokemon, and I was excited to see him in the anime, but I guess one stream. Now we are down to the final two. Undoubtedly, Ash's two strongest Fire-type Pokemon, and the ones people seem to love the most. Ash's Infernape and Ash's Charizard. I'm going to be taking a look at their feats simultaneously since they seem to be pretty similar. Both these Pokemon were abused and abandoned by their trainers. Charmander was the first Fire-type Pokemon that Ash had, and throughout that journey, he had a lot of emotional and physical ups and downs. I made a whole video breaking down Charizard's character arcs if you want to check that out, but the moral of the story is by the end of that season, he evolved into a Charizard and wanted to be the very strongest Charizard once he went to the Charcific Valley and realized that there are so many more powerful lizards than him. When Ash met Infernape, he was a Chimchar, and he was being abandoned by Paul since Paul viewed him as weak and was just completely abusing him. When Ash added Infernape onto his team, he had major anger issues. This Pokemon's trump card was its ability Blaze, where when he gets to low HP, he gets super powerful, but it's not like a regular Blaze because this Infernape goes Super Saiyan anytime it happens, crashing out, seeing red, and almost winning any battle when this ability activates. I would go more in depth on why this is happening, but I promise you I'm making a full video on Infernape sooner rather than later, so make sure you subscribe for that. Overall, by the end of the Sinnoh League, Infernape ended up beating Paul and finishing that character arc. But Infernape's journey doesn't end there. His greatest feat has to be in Pokemon Journeys, where he versus Moltres and holds his own. This Pokemon wasn't even breaking a sweat, and if it wasn't for Gary jumping in and just making Infernape lose more of his spotlight since it seemed like he needed help, I believe Infernape had the power to solo this legendary Pokemon. Professor Oak even tells us that after Ash left Infernape behind, he never stopped training and even challenged all of Ash's Fire-type Pokemon to a battle and even had a 1v1 against Charizard, but we never found out who the winner of that was. Normally with all this, I would probably place Infernape over Charizard, except Charizard actually does have legendary Pokemon experience. He ended up versing Articuno. In a 1v1 against Nolan's Articuno, Ash used Charizard and they had a fully uninterrupted 1v1. And unlike all the previous Pokemon on this list that have versed legendary Pokemon, Charizard actually won and lived to tell the tale. Even if I were to assume that Infernape would have beat Moltres in a 1v1, unfortunately I have to pull this card. Charizard just has the type advantage. Some people seem to forget, but Charizard is not a dragon type. He is a fire flying type, and Infernape is a fire fighting type. Fighting is weak to flying. So unless Infernape was just so much drastically stronger than Charizard, it's pretty safe to assume that Charizard is the stronger Pokemon.
Ja tak! Ja tak! Ja tak! Sådan. Shout Charizard! Shout Charizard! Ey. Jeg har en Charizard. Ikke fedt. Nej, Mia. Det var ikke så godt. Ådsklap. Nå ja, Mia, du var her ikke på stream i går, ikke? Men jeg har faktisk lavet sådan en liste. Her, idéer. Det er kommende Team Pjuske. Det er et stort projekt der til Team Pjuske, ikke? Men nu det hedder, der er Pjuskes begravelse, Provins Velkomfeks, Y-Faktor, Pjuske Potter, episode 1-4, Rumvæsen, filmen, Jagten efter Pjuske, I'll Change the World, Pjuske Hotel, 1-2-3, FIFA Cup 2, Pjuske-prisen, Team Pjuske mødet, Team Pjuske i Rusland, det sker der krig, der er slut, og Team Pjuske i USA, det skal også der krig, der er Trump ikke er præsident mere, og Pjuske Blade, du ved, Beyblade, og Pjuskemon, ligesom Pokémon, og Team Pjuske Disc Battle, ja, og så Pjuske Ball Set, det tænkte vi var Patty var en god idé, men der er 10.000 kalorier challenge, Pattys bofælde, 1-4, ja, jeg har en idé til det, 10.000 bottle flips, ja, det kunne være meget sjovt, Team Pjuske på camping, Among Us foran hinanden, så skrev vi ikke mere ned, så, men vi finder på noget altid hister her, det er mere det bliver crazy shit. Vi skal også tænke, hvad der er muligt, hvad der ikke er muligt. Det er mig, der standser. Ja. Damn shit. Vel hvad? Vel hvad? Nå okay. Fint. Fedt. Ja. Og på rumvæsen stream. Jamen jeg tror det var efter rumvæsen. Det var i går aftes i går. Det var midt om natten. Det er så I don't know bro. Så jeg tror du sov. Jeg tror du havde skrevet godnat, da jeg bare kom ud med den. Fødselsdagen. Gyser kortfilm. Nice. Ikke dårligt. Jo ja, man skulle give et kig. Det der bord der. Oh my god, jeg husker det bord.
Godmorgen. Tillykke med fødselsdagen. Hvor mor og far? De sover lige. Jeg har lavet morgenmad til dig. Tak. Vågner de snart? Det ved jeg ikke. Hvad hvis de aldrig vågner? Jeg passer altid på dig. Det ved du. Så dig, fødselsdagsbarnet. Så står ikke noget kort. Skal jeg åbne den? Ja, det kan vi da godt.
Ej. Ja, lige præcis, Mia. Lige præcis. Gennemførte de virkelig Smash Super Mario? Shit, de har også bare været i gang med, ikke? Så. Fuck. Kan du ikke lide dukker? Jeg ved det ikke. Jeg synes bare, det var lidt kedeligt. Det er mere det. Jeg er også glad for skole. Ja. So far away, so far away, so far away, so far away, so far away. So far away. Nu er det tid til at spille Mias yndlingssang. Christian og Lasse Stad. Det er den banger!
Lasse. Lasse. sang. Lasse, hvornår vil du komme i gang?
Gud! Ja. Det var i gamle dage, Mia. Det var 10 år siden. Det gør det var 8 år. Det der bedre ice pop, fam. Med One Direction.
Ja, hvorfor? Lasse spiller. Han ved ikke, hvad han skal gøre. Hvorfor? Ved du hvorfor? Fordi vi fucking ikke aldrig kom i gang med at skrive den fucking sang.
Never mere.
Kom så Lasse, der skriver den sang. Lasse og Christian start. Lasse. Kom her, Lasse. Lasse start. Lasse. Kom her, Lasse. Spil mig. Lasse.
Jeg folder det er dit yndlingssang, Mia. Mia, jeg har værre. Du har ikke... Du troede, det var slem, ikke? Bare men jeg kan finde en, der er værre. Der. Gæt hvad for et beat det er, Mia. Gæt hvad for et beat det er. Nej, gæt lige hvad for et beat det er. Okay, du har ret. Så gik jeg lige. Der gad jeg ikke. Fem der mister lige med alle lysten til at streame lige pludselig. De narver. Oh my god. Ten times worse. Oh nej. Doofus Jerry. Ja. Day 200. Nej, jeg tror de der uploadet igen. Oh my god. Hvad hedder? Bunny Blue er awesome. Best friends, best enemies. The Forgotten Spin-off. Er der en spin-off?
Alright, so I just got this new bidet right here. All you gotta do is turn this knob. Alright, so I just got this new bidet right here. All you gotta do is turn this knob.
Oh.
What in tarnation, Alabama Betty Crocker is this?
Okay, ready?
I wake up at 5 a.m. and do 27,000 rip curls, bleed, blood, sweat, tears. Life is a delicious drink that you have to suck deep.
Money or love? I want you. What?
glasses black. But we are on the right track. We are getting back in. See?
Den er følelsen.
What even was that?
Keep going, keep going. You got it, you got it.
Helt galt.
Keep going, keep going. There we go.
Oh fuck.
Good, Friday, go.
Well, time to go to bed.
Hey,
Fuck!
where are you going?
Jamen, du kunne ikke gøre noget, bro.
I'm here with.
No, cámara, deportation, no. Okay. I'm Martin.
I'm about to go to Taco Bell and get me a box.
Chef fire or what? Yes, sir.
Alexa! Stop! Alexa! Simon says, ha 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 ha. Alexa! Stop!
Bad light.
Åh nej.
Eiskalt genießen.
Hej Maria. Velkommen til.
It's the big palm tree. It's gonna be awesome. Can't wait. Don't leave me here.
Okay, der fik du mig mere, der fik du mig. Sejls kat. Jeg føler mig, at jeg var oppe. Snake.
What's that?
Brother, yeah.
What's that, brother?
What's that, brother?
Hey guys, you wanna go fishing? We'll go fishing, okay?
Ej. Fight. Oh shit. Nice bjørn. Løb! Jeg løber. Oh. Oh shit. Ah, fuck. Sejt fyr. Du kan godt. Overleve. Oh fuck. Hvor skulle man lade han vil ikke falde, han vil gøre alt han kan. Oh fuck. Han faldt. Jeg ved ikke, hvor det gør. Men han snakker dansk. Ja. For helvede. Ej. Snart sorte kan. Lige med kløerne. Asian kid. Just eating his soup. Jeg vil ikke sige det der mere.
Wait.
Det er det. Nå, pyha, det er væk. Kan ikke lide at komme frem, kan ikke lide at komme.
Hey, Steven.
Not that. That wasn't what I was looking for, man.
For helvede.
I literally just put fresh litter in here. I can't win.
Yeah. Kør hun.
Are you smiling? Itzy! Itzy, smiling girl! Are you smiling? You meow.
Vi så i hvert fald med det. Så med i hvert fald sørge for, at der er ikke nogen, der sidder med en. For helvede, mand! Oh my god! Fuck, hvor ulækkert. Det var for meget. Det var for ulækkert for mig. Shit. For helvede mere. For helvede. Nu er det 2. Det er minus 1 point til dig, fordi der var en edderkop. Hvis jeg bare kigger på min starttid, så ser der er noget godt. Musik er større end fodbold, fam. Uanset hvad Asmus siger. Fam. Det er ikke engang for sjov, ikke? Du ved, fordi Asmus og mig, vi havde en diskussion om, hvem var mest kendt, Michael Jackson eller Cristiano Ronaldo. Og jeg siger Michael Jackson, hvilket er åbenløst. Men han siger Cristiano Ronaldo, men hans fodboldhjerte er lidt, der er lidt er lidt bias, men Asmus er også bias nogle gange. Sådan er det. Og det ved han også godt. Hvad skal vi se? Er der noget, jeg vil se imens? Boring fraud.
Right, so I get what you may be saying right here. That may be that Liam, it's a bit late for this, right? And that could be the case, but in my opinion, this even proves why this video should be done. Because I've completely forgot about this guy's existence. Yeah. It's quite bad. I did a post about 4 years ago it feels like now, about how I believe Phil Foden is the best or the most talented player in the England national team. It was 4 years ago, right? I really love Phil Foden. He's like a guy that should be from La Masia, that is English, has a technical ability of all the world combined. He is who I think the England team should be built around. That was how highly I rated Phil Foden 3-4 years ago. Even back during the World Cup, Qatar World Cup 3 years ago, I also said that I really loved him then as well. And that maybe it can just one day click for the England national team. And that kind of faded away in my opinion. Last season, so that being the 23-24 season, he had a great year for Man City. Last year was the complete opposite. What is Phil Foden's actual raw stats from last year? Like, was he as bad as people made out to be? 28 games in Premier League, 7 goals and 2 assists is quite poor showing. If you add all competitions, excluding the recent Club World Cup, it's 46 games, 10 goals and 6 assists. It's not great, especially for a player that should be now reaching the prime years of his career. He's 25 years of age, was 24 last year, and really should be stepping forward. Now, with Roger being injured for City, with many players in the squad being as poor as they were, it led to many more ideas that Phil Foden is so-and-so a system player. The idea that Foden thrives in a certain system where everything is going according to the manager's plan. With Roger being injured, that is a massive piece of that system now destroyed. But there's a lot more around that that's got into why Phil Foden has been nowhere near the same player this year. And why is he not the same player as he was for England, for what he was for City? I really want Foden to work out at England, but each time he gets given a chance, he seems like he's too scared to really make it count. This year, it seems like he's had a ton of issues. He's got injuries, he's got illnesses, he's got surgery, he's got the poor European Championship, he's got family circumstances of having a ton of kids. I think he's got 4 kids now.
Well,
comment down below your thoughts on Phil Foden. Kind of where do you see him as a footballer? Can you see him still being as successful outside of City, or do you think he is just a system player? Was he overrated the entire time? Or is it a mentality issue? Tell me down below, like, subscribe, and Mazzella Designs for the best football prints all made by myself. Use code VISA for 15% off all items. People comparing him to Rashford in terms of he had a purple patch season and now he's gone back to where his actual level is. Last year, of course, was great in 35 games, 19 goals, 8 assists, of course, won the league, everything else. The year before that, he wasn't really known for scoring too many more goals. 11 goals in 32 games in the league, only 1 goal in 8 Champions League games. Phil Foden stepped up against West Ham to win the Premier League for them. He also stepped up in the Champions League away at the Santiago Bernabeu, which had a fantastic strike as well. A lot of talk has been done about the fact that he's a father with 3 kids. One of my favourite comments was from a guy saying he needs to consult with an expert on how to pull out, or get more sister wives, pass the kids off like a pyramid scheme.
For helvede mere.
Granted, I don't think kids is a reason of why he's been playing poorly. Like, granted, don't get me wrong here. As someone that has 2 kids and I'm relatively quite young, you can be quite tired. But he's a very rich guy who, of course, can afford to pay for nannies and literally anything in the world that can help them. So I don't know if this will affect him all too much. But when you've got rumours coming out within the City group saying that the players are privately worried about him, then it's fair to have that conversation. Look, he's still a relatively young player. that has a lot of expectation, was at a high level of playing and is no longer performing at that level anymore, which of course there's a demand and there's even more pressure on reaching that level again. Injuries, of course, has been a factor of this as well. He's not been able to really go all out every single time. And the fact of the matter is, most players that plays now, they always are playing through some kind of injury, have some kind of strain, have something a bit pulley in their muscle somewhere in their leg that they just have to play through because it's not that disastrous and there's not many other options. And Foden with England, of course, hasn't helped in the Euros. He was involved, but people probably wish that he wasn't. And then under Thomas Tuchel got brought in and then of course got put down to the right wing and didn't play well because Phil Foden cannot play in the right wing or left wing for England. Again, the system at England just doesn't suit him. The game that people mention the most is the Manchester derby between United and City, where in that game he was really poor, just low energy, low in any confidence, was either giving the most easiest simple passes or trying to do anything different, and he simply lost the ball. He lost the ball 14 times in that game and only completed 60% of his passes. Now, don't get me wrong, he has played in Club World Cup as Wydad AC and of course assisted Doku, but I'm not really going to take much off Phil Foden beating Wydad in Club World Cup as much to go off here. No matter how poor you're doing in your regular league season, playing against players at a much lesser quality, you will of course look a lot better compared to them. And of course there'll be more opportunities for through balls and dribbling abilities where you're playing against players that are not as good as what you're typically up against. So I'm not taking this thing as Wydad as an example that he's now back. And I think there's one really simple way of just seeing why Phil Foden doesn't seem to really be fully on it and confident when everything isn't perfectly set around him in the perfectly created environment that he's been used to throughout his entire academy days. And that is because physically he's not that fast and he's not that strong. He's a very lightweight player which dribbling wise has an immense technical skill. His first touch and everything is incredible, but he's not really got like the dribbling ability from what I've seen to really take on a man in a 1v1 situation. He's more of a pass and move kind of guy, which you need players very close around you to really make that work. In England, under a new system, especially when he's playing out wide, he's not got the pace to really take on a man, and he's not really a 1v1 specialist anyway because he plays much more narrow in the City system. So that's why for England, if he tries to go left, tries to go right, it doesn't work. You try to put him in a 10 and you'd think now Phil Foden in a 10 for England, it should work. But realistically, he's not as good as a number 10 in my opinion compared to what we see from Jude Bellingham for England that's had much more actual efficiency. He contributes more goals and more assists. He is more noticeable. When Foden plays, I feel like the game goes by him faster and you don't really notice him. He blurs into the game. Now look, again, as I said, he did score and assist against Wydad and he may have a decent game in the next game they play for the Club World Cup. Who did he even play? Let me just double check here. For City, they play up next against Juventus. That's a pretty good test, right? In 2 days' time. Let's see how he does against Juventus. But we have to wait and see, don't we? This is not because I hate Foden or something. I think sometimes in a situation like this, it's as simple as just look at it with your own eyes and see what you see. And that is, he can't really take on man. He's not that physically strong, and he's not that physically fast. But he's very good technical in tight spaces, and that's where he roams. And there's a part of me that when I talk about Foden, I'm actually really annoyed because I just think he should be a level above this at this stage. Like, I think he has a talent and a technical ability that should put him beyond having these conversations about him. The consistency has not been there this year. It could be a one-off, and I hope that it is, because for England, I hope that they do well. But my good God, football is all about confidence. Like, the game is nothing but confidence. And Phil Foden, he's not really helping the idea that he is a system player, because people may say, yeah, but he played in different positions for City, so like he's not a system player. But I just think that in our City system, I don't think it makes much of a difference where he plays. Most people, including me, wants him as a number 10. However, potentially the greatest coach of all time in Pep Guardiola staunchly refuses to do so on a consistent basis. Even when KDB, Kevin De Bruyne, was no longer available, he was injured and so on and so forth, he refused to play him as a number 10 centrally. Phil Foden is a forward based on how he positions himself on the pitch. He's someone that plays somewhat childish, that wants to get the ball and be as direct as possible and go at players, and not really have that patience to really go in between the lines and wait for the ball to come to him. He always wants something to happen, which is thoughtful, maybe good to see, but at a top level, in these positions, it's not necessary, and is actually more of a concern to the structure of the team than anything else. So is there anything wrong in being a system player? Raheem Sterling is one of the greatest system players of all time for City. That was incredible for City in that role. And anywhere else, he kind of shines like he doesn't belong. When I see him play for England, he's never, ever the same player that he is for City. 4 goals in 45 games, and in most games that I see him play, he's barely even involved. Like, he is a passenger in many of those games. So, he's got to prove himself. Club World Cup, we've seen him score against Wydad. Let's see how he does with the rest of it. But him being tired and mentally fatigued, him playing the Club World Cup America in amazing heat, isn't really going to be helping him, I don't think.
Real Madrid finally decided to get a center back.
Dean Howson is become a Madridista.
It only took multiple ACLs to be torn for Perez to realize, hey, maybe some money needs to be spent on the defense. And what a player they got. A young Spanish center back who has an eye for goal.
Towards the back post, Howson! Dean Howson with the header! Long throw-in into the area. Howson heads goalwards! And you know the rest!
Sound familiar?
My idol was always Ramos. When I was growing up, he had everything.
So who exactly is Dean Howson, and why is there so much hype around his name? Now, some of you might be wondering why Madrid wanted a center back who not only looks like he's always high, but is coming from Bournemouth.
My eyes, I have sleepy eyes. I have it from my mom because my mom has sleepy eyes. I'm not high.
Well, first of all, the Cherries have actually been a good side in the Premier League. At one point, they were competing for European football despite half their team being injured. So let's show them some respect. But more importantly, many of Madrid's best signings have come from smaller clubs. Modric and Bale came from Spurs.
It's the history of the Tottenham.
Ramos came from Sevilla. Ronaldo came from United. I'm joking. Back then, United was actually a big club. Nowadays, it doesn't matter where you play. If you have talent, it will be noticed. And Howson is a player that fits the exact mold of the modern-day center back. He is super tall, an aerial threat, great in duels, and fantastic on the ball. God, I feel like I'm George Janko describing Andrew Tate.
He's super tall, bro, and like it's super intimidating when he has so many bodyguards around him.
The fact that Howson is 2-footed and comfortable in possession is exactly why he was central to the way Iraola wanted his Bournemouth side to play. So the fact that it looks like he just spent an afternoon with Snoop Dogg is fine, because being calm on the ball is a great quality for a central defender. How good Howson is on the ball will be explored in great detail later in the video. Now, you guys want to know what's funny? Madrid almost signed Howson in 2021. At the time, the Spaniard was actually Dutch. You'll see what I mean later. He was doing well at Malaga's youth setup. Being that tall but an intelligent defender made him attract a lot of attention. And at 16 years old, he was looking to make the next big jump in his career. And the decision was and Real Madrid. Howson chose the old lady, feeling like Italy would be the best place to continue his development.
Because, you know, obviously Italy is famous and they really teach you the ins and outs of defending, where to stand, how to run, how to do this, how to do that.
Arriving in Turin, he quickly made a name for himself in Juventus' academy. Despite playing as a center back, he had a knack for scoring goals, often with powerful headers. In fact, his first 2 professional goals came in the same game, when he scored a brace in the second leg of the Coppa Italia Serie C semi-finals. He had been working hard in the Juventus youth teams, and soon the coaches started to notice. They liked how calm he was on the ball, how smart he looked defensively, and how much he wanted to improve. And in October of 2023, Howson finally got his chance. Juventus were playing against AC Milan, and with just a few minutes left, he was sent on as a sub. At this time, he was only 18 years old. You would think that substitute appearance would be the start of his rise at Juventus. But that debut turned out to be his only first-team appearance for the club. It was not easy for him to break in. There were experienced players ahead of him, and opportunities were rare. So the club decided it was best for him to get more minutes elsewhere. And in January of 2024, he was loaned out to Roma. And that's where everything changed. At Roma, Howson quickly became a regular starter. He played 13 league games and scored his first goals in senior football. But one goal stood out more than the rest. Roma were pushing forward. Howson picked up put the ball deep in his own half, looked up, and just went for it.
Still going, Dean Huijsen. This is Huijsen! And it had to be him. He was linked with a move to Frosinone in January. He opted for Roma, and he comes to the Stirpe and shows Frosinone what they could have had.
Fans couldn't believe it. A teenage center back scoring a goal like a top striker. I'm telling you right now, Højlund can't even do this, and he cost 80 mil. That moment proved something important. Howard wasn't just tall and strong. He had real skill. Was this calm, confident kid ready to be a starter for them? Or was his future somewhere else? Somewhere where he could play every week and keep growing. And by the time the season ended, Juventus had a big decision to make. Many were hopeful that under Motta, the young defender would be given a real chance to prove himself. However, according to Hausen himself, when he returned for preseason, it was very clear that the club had no intention of keeping him. Faced with financial constraints, Juventus told the defender that he had to be sold for them to raise funds. Hausen has publicly stated that he never wanted to leave. He wanted a chance to prove himself, considering he had been at the club for 3 years. But Juventus had already made their decision. In fact, they started to even force him to train alone as a way of pushing him out of the club. Well, out of nowhere, Bournemouth stepped in and they signed Hausen.
Dean, firstly, welcome to AFC Bournemouth. How happy are you to be at this club?
I'm really excited to be here.
It was a surprise because a mid-table team in the Premier League casually picked up a super talented young defender for just 15.2 million euros. I mean, it's one thing for Juve to want to sell a player to get money, but it's another thing to get such a low price from a Premier League team. Literally every club outside of the Premier League knows that Premier League clubs love to burn money. They have so much of it. So the fact that they couldn't get a bigger fee for the Spaniard, someone who has so much potential, I feel like that's just bad negotiating. It wasn't a massive headline-grabbing transfer, and many people outside of Bournemouth and Juventus didn't even really pay attention. But the Cherries knew
Liverpool could spend another £200 million in the market this summer and still be PSR compliant. But the game isn't to see how much they can spend. The thesis remains that spending money wisely is the most important thing. A direct quote from Dave Powell of the Liverpool Echo. So, you mean to tell me that one of the best clubs at spending money wisely and turning that into trophies are now not only runaway champions,
Jeg har holdt min pause og bruger, ikke, du ved, men nu, nu rører jeg lidt igen, og så er det det, men ja. Der er ikke noget der, fam. Der er ikke noget der. Vi tager det stille og roligt,
We're spending over £300 million to improve an already winning squad is light work.
Men det gør, de panik er endelig færdig med jer.
Is definitely the year of Liverpool. This is not good for anyone that is not this club. Dog days.
Nå, ja, vent der.
Hello, hope you're doing
well. Nå, det er også noget tid siden. Det er en lang historie, bror. Jeg skal nok fortælle dig, hvis du har mig på Snap, kan vi snakke om det på et tidspunkt. Det kan godt være, du har ringet. Men jeg er ikke lige, men ja. Men ja, vi kan godt tage den på et tidspunkt, hvis det er. Vi kan godt snakke om det, hvis det er igen. Hvad der er sket. Det er også noget tid siden. Men jeg ryger mindre, end jeg gjorde før. Så det er det vigtigste for mig lige nu. Ruller lige med dig, det er bare i orden, Mikkel, det er bare i orden. Det var i orden. Ægte, ja, ægte. Altså, du ved, jeg ryger mindst mindre, end jeg gjorde før, så fremskridt på en eller anden mærkelig måde, ikke? Så, men altså, vi må hellere, du ved, bare, så vi tager det stille og roligt. Jeg skal, hvad det hedder, ja. Ja. Jeg tvivler lige. Det er bare en etter, fam. Det er bare en etter. Hvornår skal jeg til... Jeg skal også til Præstø på et tidspunkt. og mødes med nogle seere på et tidspunkt. Jeg har mødtes med dem. De er fucking nice. Så hvad det hedder, så jeg skal lige skrive til Lukas på et tidspunkt, og så skal jeg lige have mødtes med en af dem. Eller ikke mødtes med en af dem, bare mødes med dem alle sammen igen, så vi lige laver en aftale. Skal vi høre noget musik? Bare lige for hyggens skyld. Du ryger alle sammen. Jeg tager altså, men fanden bare sidde ved det ikke, jeg tager altså en pause, du ved, hvor jeg ikke ryger, men det hedder i august og september, for jeg skal til Vietnam i september, ikke? Og der skal jeg ikke ryge. Det er yderst meget ulovligt der, så, og jeg ved ikke helt, hvor man kan skaffe. Nogen siger, at jeg bare skal spørge en frisør i Hanoi, men I don't dare. Men det har også været skræmmende. Min søster har fortalt mig, at hun har røget i Vietnam, men det har også været skræmmende. Hun ser altså også skræmmende.
Okay, klar. Jeg er allerede i gang, men jeg skal høre, se reaktion. Hvad så alle sammen? Velkommen til den video.
Sponsoreret kendt det mindste og bragt til jer af Rumvæsen, Ultra Blue, Hawaii.
Jeg lige fået til...
Færdig, jeg tog en klude, ikke? Og så rense med computeren, den er næsten som ny. Shit. Ja. Glæder til næste video. Ny video i morgen.
Jeg håber, at Rumvæsen ellers er ved at have dem børn brugt tilbage.
Ja, Rumvæsen. Nej, det her var...
60 niveau for ham.
Der er en lips omkring dig, der er en lips omkring dig, der er en lips omkring dig.
Ja, det vil. Nice. Så søg mig det. Gør hvad så?
Woo! Den er god! Woo!
Den er bedre end den hvide. Det er faktisk en meget bedre version af hvide. Jeg giver den 8 ud af 10.
Det er god 10!
Ja, ikke noget til 6 end det. Nej, 7 ud af 10. Det var 10. Like, subscribe. Kom før. Næste.
Jeg har en monster til Vikingberry, jeg smager på bakken, ikke? Men den kommer i morgen, har jeg set, så nice. En time stream, let's go fam, let's go, hey, en time. Jeg skal lige ringe til min mentor. Kommer lige om lidt. Tilbage, fam, tilbage. Der er styr på det. Okay, men så vil jeg sige tak for den her stream indtil videre. Tager lige et break. Nu har jeg også været live i en time, så vi tager det stille og roligt selvfølgelig. Jeg skal lige komme med 100%, ikke? Så vi tager det stille og roligt. I'll say I go now, and then see when I'm coming back. Yeah.